Rima,
Hi,
I so like
I'm back.
we'll just wait for some minute, or they might be joining us.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Think and Grow Rich, Ikigai, Rich Dad and Poor Dad, Power of Habits, Compound Effect, Secrets, Money, Master the Game by Tony Robbins, Alchemist.
Sarita, can you hear the sound?
Yes,
Can anyone confirm they can hear the sound?
we can hear.
Lesson studies provide teachers with
I can
opportunities to
also
learn together.
Okay, fine. Ruchi, I'm logging out. I'm starting to log in. We'll join in 10-15 minutes. Fine. Yeah, it's fine. I was muted. Okay.
Ruchi, I think they're running late. So then Anusha will come at 12:15, I think, our time.
Yeah, so what can be done? You guys go ahead. You'll have to get on with it.
While we are waiting for them, Ruchi maybe, or Dhwani, whoever, could you tell me who in SCA I should contact? I need a few sort of resources for the session on social inclusion and gender on Friday.
Okay, I will give you Sadik's contact. Actually, he's
Yeah,
also on the group, so you can touch base with him. But I've also shared your number with him.
Thank you. Yeah, because I will need to ask him to get a random set of like different textbooks for different grade levels in school, just to have a look at women and men in the books.
Okay, sure.
So I will send you the kind of the outline of the topics that I will talk about, and just to check whether you think this is what you were expecting, because I'm not sure whether I understood right or not. So how should I'll send it to you on WhatsApp separately rather than on, or even on Telegram, but separately, not in the group.
Yeah. You can email it to me and Ruchi, and you
Yeah.
can send it to us on Telegram as well.
Yeah, just
Personally.
to confirm, then I will kind of prepare a very basic
And
sort of.
Zulekha, if you have time, maybe after the session tomorrow or today, we can have a short conversation about this as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. I think they have joined, Ruchi.
Okay.
I see bulk conference room. I think it's them.
Hello, SCA team. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I guess everyone has come back. I'm going to share a video and then we'll have a discussion on that. And as a reminder, I wanted to tell you I had given you a task of designing professional development experience for the teachers whom you would be working with. Does everyone remember that task?
Arun, repeat your question. Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, please repeat your question.
I had given you a task yesterday, a task for designing professional development for teachers. How many of you have done it? Hello? Just stop share. So this task.
Oh, yes.
So how many people have done this task? I just wanted to know.
I think we have missed this task.
Even if you're not able to do, just let me know that you're not able to do, then I will help you later on.
Sorry, we have missed actually.
You have not done it, so take this as your homework today. And I have shared the PPT there on the group itself, and you have to do this task. So in order to help you to do this video, okay? So this is a video of how professional development experience is done in Japan. Okay, so we are going to a different country right now. We are going to Japan. And this professional development has been appreciated all across the world, and several countries are now trying to do this. What is most special about this professional development experience is it does not start with training the teachers outside the school. It starts with what teacher does in the school itself, and use that, what teacher is doing in the classroom, and uses that to help the teacher to improve their teaching. So this is a kind of an in-service teacher professional development that they do in Japan. So just to another example to give you an idea about how professional development can be designed. And yes, this is from mathematics, but please do not fear. I think you will enjoy this. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear the sound?
No, it's not audible.
Okay, wait. Just wait. I'll share the screen.
Even though we cannot see the video.
Not see the video. Can you?
Yeah, now we can see the video. But there
Can
are
see
no
the video?
words.
Let me see the voice.
At the elementary school,
Yes.
University of Tsukuba.
You can hear the sound?
Yes.
You can hear the
Yes.
sound, no? Yeah, so
Yes.
you can see this is a Japanese classroom. I'll start it again. Yeah.
Mr. Sayama thinks that the students won't be happy learning unless he himself is happy about teaching. What do his students think about their teacher?
いろんなところが好き。すごい優しいです。かっちょいい。算数の授業も面白いし、楽しいなと思います。
School is over for the day. It's now dusk, and Mr. Sayama is working alone, writing something on the board. He is making plans for the lesson he will present for a lesson study to be held in just 1 week.
So you can see what he is doing here. He is designing the question. He is designing a lesson plan for the lesson study that they are going to do. And this lesson study they are going to do with other teachers.
The lesson for this unit focuses on subtracting a 2-digit number from a 3-digit number. It seems to...
So it is about subtracting 2-digit number from a 3-digit number. You can see all of above numbers are 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, and all the lower digit numbers are 2-digit, 91, 92, 93.
...be different from ordinary questions where you solve the problem and fill in the answer. He is going to use a different way of teaching subtraction using a fill-in-the-blank subtraction problem where only the difference is known. The students will be asked to come up with the missing numbers.
So what he has done is, he has designed this question. And here, both the numbers are not given. But the answer is known. Answer is 3. And the students have to fill up these numbers. So what is special about this question? What is special about this question? Can I have some responses, please?
Yes.
In my viewpoint, it is in innovation. The answer is given in student may think about the number from which number should be subtract to remain 3.
Yes, and there can be different numbers which can come up on the top and different numbers on the. There is not a single number. So this is a open-ended question in which different answers are possible. Okay, so that is special about
Difference is known. The students will be asked to come up with the missing numbers.
虫食い算というのは普通式の1つ2つを隠すだけなんですね。で今回私の場合は3桁引く2桁。 子供は最初引きつけられるんじゃないかな。
He wanted the students to find certain rules hidden in the answers to the problems. The first rule is that the
Okay, so can you see? These are three different problems in which all the above numbers and below numbers are given. What is the pattern here? So if you increase the above number, the number which is on the top by 1, so the digit changes 100, 101, 102. Then to maintain the answer as 3, the below number also has to increase by 1 so that the difference between the two remains the same. So this is a pattern, and this pattern is what he wants the student to understand.
The minuend and the subtrahend increase by 1. The second rule is that there is the same number of equations as the value of the difference. For example, there are 3 ways of subtracting when the difference is 3, and there are 5 ways of subtracting when the difference is.
So if the number remaining here is 5, there are 5 ways to subtract. There can be 5 different types of problems. If it is 3, then there can be 3 different types of problems. This is very interesting pattern for students to find out. So this itself will create interest in students.
This is 5. If the students know these rules, they can find all the possible combinations of minuends and subtrahends more quickly. Mr. Hosomizu, head mathematics teacher, comes to see Mr. Seyama. Mr. Seyama asks him for some advice on how to proceed with the lesson.
答えと個数が一致してますよね。この決まりをこの辺までやっていけば気づくんじゃないかと。
いいんじゃない？展開自身は。あとは子供に応じて使っていけばさ、無理にこうやって押し込めんじゃなくてさ、子供の考えをこうやって自由に動かしながら。
So this is a head teacher who's giving advice to the teacher about how to do it with the students. He's saying that, don't give them all the choices in the beginning. Move as you, depending on what response you get from the students, you should move from there. Okay?
先生がどっかで投げかけないとダメだよね。っていうことでね。だから夢中になっちゃって、怖いのはね、見えなくなっちゃうところがあるから、こうやって授業を組み立てる前に誰かに相談しておくのがポイントで、そういう意味では末山先生いろんな人にこうやって自分が作る前に
見に待ちたい、期待したいし、その言葉を拾ってみんなに広げ。
Mr. Seyama wants his students to discover the rules hidden in the answers. Will he be able to lead his students to the point of discovery?
じゃあ、あやねか青かやろう。始めよう。はい、お願いします。これ虫食い山のね四角のところなんだけど、ちょっと今からねどんな虫食い山がここにこう作ってみますから。
By a number of observers, including teachers from other schools.
どこがどうかな。ここはね四角です。
The entire equation is hidden except for the answer. It's like a puzzle.
これが
Mr. Seyama successfully captures most of the students' interest.
どんな数が入るでしょうかっていう問題。じゃあまず考えてみよう。はい、頑張って。あ、リコがいっぱい作っていいって聞いてるけど、いっぱいできそう？そうだね。そこはね。
作ると言っても3個しかできないよ。
あ、そう、3個しかできないの？
So the student is already saying
Some
that there
students
can be
come up
only
with the
3
answers
ways.
quickly. Others are having difficulty. They still can't find the simplest solution. 100 take away 97.
はい、それではこれから発表してもらいます。どんどんいた。じゃあタイまだあるんだな。はい。100？ 101引く98。
The students have discovered 3 answers. They are all correct, but one student made this comment.
確認。
Student says something is wrong.
なんかね、順番が反対だって言うんだけどさ。
The students discovered that the order of the equations should be rearranged. This was another point Mr. Sayama wanted his students to learn for themselves, because it would lead them to discover the rule that both the minuend and the subtrahend increase by 1.
ちょっと問題をね、ここで変えてみます。答え5の場合で四角の数考えてみて。
The students start writing their answers right away. 100 minus 95 is the first equation they come up with. It just so happens to be the first equation written on the board.
次行きますけども、聞きます。白馬が最初このやり方、作るやり方って言ったんだけど、どうやってこれ作ったと思う？はい、どうぞ。
1の位が多くなるたんびに下の95、96、97。
So this student is exactly saying that each time the number above number goes up by 1, the below number also goes up by 1. So 95, 96, 97, 98 like that.
98とかがの引く数。
And increase by 1.
これそうみんな。
答えが5だと作れる式が5個。
ついたんだよね。何？
例えばさ、じゃあ1の場合だったらさ、答えが
待てよ、答えがじゃあ1の場合だったら何個あると思うみんな。本当？
Then came the moment Mr. Sayama was waiting for.
これだったら何個あると思う？本当かな？
So the students are also able to identify how many equations
There are
can
the
be
same
made
number
if
of
the
possible equation combinations.
彼らの言葉説明をうまくねこうつなげたりとか。
And now comes the interesting part. What happens after he has taught?
それでは今から瀬山先生の授業。
After school, a lesson reflection was carried out with Mr. Sayama.
瀬山先生から。
はい、面白いことに普段よく算数ができる子ほど最初できてなかったんですね。なぜかってことを後から子供に聞いたんですけど、できる子ほど答えが3人である場合の1の位の数から考えちゃってる。例えば、引かれる数が1で下は8だとかちゃってるんですね。今回はさほどなんていうかな。
のかなと思ったそのわけは私がなぜ1がいいかなと思ったら今日やりたいこういうところの内容が1で全部説明できちゃうのね。できない子なんかこれが一番悩むんじゃないの。こっちから考えていくもやっぱり 9-8 は1とかね。1で
So
やっ
here
て
this head teachers and other teachers are listening to him and they are giving him advice that in today's lesson, yes, some of the students were facing difficulty in finding out what would be the first number itself, that 9 minus 8 will be 1 here. And how the teacher can help the students who are facing these kind of difficulties. So this is a reflection meeting in which the teacher is telling what happened in the classroom based on his or her own viewpoint, and then others are giving advice about how the lesson can be improved. It is not about what the teacher should have done, what teacher did good or what teacher did bad, but it is about how the lesson can be improved, what kind of activities can be done with the students, what kind of questions can be taken up by the students.
ねこういうのがヒントになるのよ。できない子の。
今日の場合3でやっても27、8人はパッとできてたので。今日みたいな、まあ、確かに最初から手がつかなかなか分かんないのが10人ぐらいいたんですけども、まあ、この割合からしたら3でもどうだったよかったんじゃないかなって思ったんですね。
これ以外にないっていうことの説明は上手にできてる。
Mr. Tsubota, vice principal, made this comment.
感心しちゃったけど、せっかくカードを用意してるでしょ。3桁と2桁で5になるやつ。ああ先生が書いちゃうのかと思って見てたけど、子供に書かせたらずっと面白いのになと。適当にさ子供何人か当てて。
So this vice principal is saying that you should not have told them the answer. You should let them solve first, get their answer, and then discuss it, because then it will become much more interesting. Yeah. So like this, the discussion goes on and the teacher gets a lot of advice about improving. And then what will happen after this meeting is the same lesson will be taught by some of these teachers in their own school, and they will meet again. I mean, of course, they will make changes in this lesson based on the advice that is given by everyone. So the focus of professional development is the teaching itself. How this, teaching, the questions, the resources, how they can improve student learning, and everybody is involved in thinking about how it can improve learning for students. Yeah. So if now I can hear from Afghan team about what they felt they got from this video itself, whether it made sense to them, whether they can use these ideas in design of professional development.
Ci bardاشت داشتیم آیره کسایی که نیاز دانستن بشن. Yes.
Okay. As I observed the video, ma'am, I liked it very much. It was very useful, and the strategies the teacher used was very good for guessing the puzzles, and the students were constructing their knowledge themselves. There was no boost of learning, and the teacher was always trying to help the students to guess the answer. And also the class was engaging, interested, and motivated. They constructed their knowledge themselves, and the reflection part was also very good. If we applied this method in our classes, so the system of Afghan context will also be improved. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. I think it was, or I don't know who it was who was speaking.
Mariam was speaking.
Yeah, thank you so much for your reflection. Any other person?
Yes.
You can talk about your own context, maybe it can be English teaching, maybe it can be about, how you can use this teaching itself, the idea of reflection to design professional development for teachers.
I think in every kind of context, there are many issues and problems. There are also some opportunities to change the challenges on a good points. And I learned from this video that every teacher has an innovation with her or his and can implement it in the class. They think if they want to develop their profession. And also the management of the school is involved in the professional development and can reflect or give feedback to the teacher that how to improve the innovation which has with her.
Thank you, Fazila. Right, and can anyone comment about the role played by the teacher educators, the head teachers, the vice principal? What were their role? Other teachers, what was the role played by them? What were they doing? Were they helping in any way?
They observe the teaching process of the teacher, and after that they provide feedbacks, constructive feedbacks.
I think you missed one important point, that they were there even during planning. He was there for the planning also, and he gave advice in planning also. So he is there for the teacher right from the beginning. Even in planning, they are planning together. Then the teacher is teaching at that time also, he's there, and after that in reflection also it is there. And the point of reflection is not to criticize the teacher, not to find the fault in the teacher, but to analyze the lesson itself. What was helpful for student? what can be changed in the lesson itself, what is helpful in the question, how can the questions be changed for students learning. So the focus of discussion changes from criticizing the teacher to looking at the lesson analytically, to looking at the task, to looking at the resources in a more analytical way. Ruhani, Ruhullah, can you just confirm if everyone has got this point? We want to have a discussion about that, and then we will move to Anusha. Yeah.
That's clear to all of us.
Yeah, so Ikra Mullah, Mohammad Danish, Ishaq Aryan, everything's clear? Yeah.
That's clear, but Mariam has a doubt or question.
Yes, I have a question. Can we call this process mentorship, or we call it working with teacher?
I got the first. Can you repeat, Ruhullah?
She said that what can we name this activity? It is a mentorship support program, or mentorship support, or it is classroom observation, or working with teacher. What can we call it?
Yes. So mentorship definitely involves working with teachers. Please do not try to make it separate, right? So mentoring does involve working with teachers, and Anusha and Bindu are going to talk about this in the evening today. And yes, this would involve mentoring, because you are working with teachers, giving them advice, discussing with them what happened in the lesson itself. Anusha fortunately is here, and she can also respond to this question, her perspective about this question. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think we'll keep it for the evening, as Ruchi said, but mentoring means primarily that we will work with wherever the teacher is placed, whatever level they have, just as we will work with students at whatever level they have, and then we bring them to the nearest possible as to what we expect, the expected level. So whichever level, some may be already there, some may be much below the level, and we try and bring them up to it. So that would be the point. Each one requires a different strategy, different help. Some people may require professional counseling, as some of you in the group chats have been writing that their level is, subpar. Some may require help in, maybe their content knowledge is very good, their abilities are very good, but their ability to talk and negotiate and get the resources and get the facilities done, or think about administrative aspects of any work, that is low. Or maybe their timetabling, their ability to schedule things is poor. Each one of us is weak in some area and strong in some area. So trying to figure that out and then enable them to work. And the beautiful part of mentoring is, just as in teaching, as you try and help the other, we also learn many new things. So we will do this part in the evening and look at it. I don't think I answered your question really, but we'll try and get back to this again and through the sessions.
Yes. Anusha, you may please begin your session. Sorry, I took some of your time.
No. So we'll still try and keep this short and sweet in the sense. What I have, I will also share in the Afghanistan group with you all. we thought that we could give these examples which are definitive of reflective teaching. So I'll share these links with you. I'm not really doing something very new. It is all there on the online and on the net. But there are varieties of ways that we can do reflective writing. There could be a journal that you write where you're writing weekly entries as you take notes from, the classes, and you try and also explain what you felt about it. So, my friends and I were going through some of our notes from first year of college, many, many years ago. And we were looking at how we felt about it. So we had these emoticons that we would draw saying a frowny face. We had 15 question marks against one concept that even now I think we have not understood in economics, and all kinds of things. So if you could also not just write the notes, but also feel about how you think about it, what is it that you may require to do, some of those elements come as what is reflective writing really about. So writing is not just recording, but also explaining what you feel about it, other thoughts that you may have in connection to it. A learning diary is very similar, but 3-4 of us can get together and write a learning diary, which is very similar to what Ruchi was also talking of in the lesson plan, but not necessarily the same. But, what did we learn as a group, and each one writing their reflections, where we also give each other feedback. And we say, oh, you did this and I learned from it. So that is a learning diary in a sense that comes in. So I thought it was useful to bring this up as I was seeing the lesson study, go forth. A logbook is generally something, some of you are going to be looking at action research, and perhaps you may need to write everything in detail, just like a science journal. So it is an accurate record of what was occurring, but it is also an accurate record very often of what you could not do or what you could not see. So one is, an example of this is if I'm in a classroom and I have 20 students in my classroom, I may be only able to focus my attention to write, how they were participating and what did they speak, etc., on 2 or maybe 6 students in the class. It's important for me to also record that I could not pay attention to the 14 students, and this is what my understanding of their participation was based on casual observation. And these were the more detailed observations. So it's important that we also record what we did not focus upon in a logbook. And so that it is important when you are trying to give future explanations, etc. A reflective note is basically something where we write about, and you have assignments like this, where you are asked, read this reading, and now write what you feel about it in relation to your context, etc. So if you have PPAC as a reading, for instance, from the digital badge course that you're doing, and you are looking at that TPAC article, and you, of course, summarize some parts, but you're also responding and saying, this makes sense in my context, this does not make sense in my context. This is, in these kinds of situations, technology perhaps will not be as strong, or technology has to be rethought the way it is. Content knowledge has to be rethought the way it is. So you're writing your personal opinions, which are informed on the basis of your experience, right? And then there is an essay diary where we actually write as academic writing, where annotations, it's just an academic assignment where you will be using references with other articles. You will be looking at these elements of, who are the other authors that we can look at? What else could we focus on and everything? So it's almost like a complete article in that sense. But this is an essay diary, is something we maintain for, journal records in a sense. I've been experimenting with some of this for my students. An essay diary need not be very long. A diary entry need not be very long. You could write 300 words. And you could still summarize, say these are the articles, this is the point, and be able to write your opinion with some evidence or example that you can think of. So it doesn't have to be extremely long. And as you grow and progress, it improves the way that you are writing through over a semester or over the year. These are activities that you could look at. Now, what does it mean? I'm not going to go into this part here because I also have another example of how we should focus on. Now, this is called the 4 R's method. And the reason why we call it 4 R's is there is something that's called reporting. There is something called relating, reasoning, and then reconstructing. So you end something with reconstruction, right? So this is someone who is written about environmental education, and I thought that we could perhaps focus on it. And I will share this link also with you all. But please note what they have done. So now on this first column, what you have are the stages. The second column of student reflective writing is actually the piece. And the third column is actually telling you what are the features of the writing that comes in, right? So the student says for reasoning, to establish the context, the student says, I am particularly interested in environmental education and ways that we can teach children to appreciate the natural world around them. This is introducing the topic in a sense where they are looking through. Another that they would have is at the primary school where I first did my placement, I observed a lesson where a place-based pedagogy, and here a citation has been given, author to 2013, who is the author, talking and who gives information about place-based pedagogy, was applied in a year 6 class. And then in this class, children went to the schoolyard where they collected plant samples, photographed flowers, wrote poems, and drew pictures about trees. I was really inspired by the way the class was organized and how the activities encouraged curiosity in the children. So one, the person has established right at the beginning that this is about environmental education. This is about how to teach them to appreciate the world around them, and is referring to a specific example in their class observation piece, and is very subjective. So they're using the word I, we, us, etc. And it is more like a story that is being built up. It doesn't have to be always a story, but this is explaining their reactions, but has also said why they are interested. So one, what they are interested, two, the evidence for that interest, and what makes it interesting, why they are interested. So they are interested because this student teacher was really inspired by the way the class was organized and how the activities encourage curiosity among children. So this is report. The second part is relate. Now, generally, you will use a past tense. We talk about things in the past, so we'll use past tense. And they are connecting, and please notice what the person says. They've said that they're interested because of the way the activities were organized. So my own learning experience of environmental education was very different to the experience that these children enjoyed. For example, my educational history in natural science was experienced primarily through textbook learning. So now all my personal experience comes in. How did I learn? What is it that I know? What is my experience? Unlike these children, my understanding of the environment was seen as separate to the environment around me. So I learned about environmental studies without my own immediate environment coming in. And again, is quoted the same author or 2013 with the page number citation. Or characterizes textbook learning like mine as the abstraction of education. So they have now tried to bring in a education piece and talk about reflection and relation to readings. And then goes on to describe what Orr says. He believes abstracted learning emotionally detaches us from our connection. to the natural world, to address the emotional connect between ourselves, disconnect between ourselves and the natural world, or encourages exploration of a place as a laboratory for learning. And wherever there are quotations from all, these are put in inverted commas. So one thing, what happens is, please note on the right, this is saying a good reflection will draw links between experience and ideas that are raised in unit readings and discussions. So ideally, when we are trying to say something, we should try and relate it not only to our experience, but also maybe to some reading that we have had, some kind of connect that we could look at. Reporting verbs like, is this a belief? Is this someone's statement? Is it my experience? I did, I felt, I, experienced. These words will tell us whether it is your experience. I believe, I think, will tell us something about what your thoughts are on that experience. And or stated, or states. Now, please notice, when you're talking about it, the experience is reported in the past tense. And whenever or is talked about, or what he says is talked about, it is using the present tense. Why? Because what or is said in a book is always available to us to refer to. Your experiences occurred in the past. So I'm also giving you the grammar tips in between, but this is where you would be looking through. So once we have done report, then there is relate, then there is reason. So here the person is trying to now think about, again, there is unit link readings things. The children I observed remain engaged and motivated throughout the class. By having to draw what they saw, they notice shapes and structure. So how did they learn? The plants, soil, colors, changes in the plants, etc. How did they learn? Now, how did the children learn? Great. Now, what did I learn from that? Watching how the children physically engage with the world around them, I felt that they were establishing a deeper connection to nature. My observation of the children in this activity reflects or is similar to Orr's idea that careful observation of the natural world can build a stronger ethical approach towards environmental issues. So one, I report what I liked about the activity, what did they do? Then I report what I felt about the activity, what I think about the activity, and then I connect it to a reading, just that much. So these are just the three chunks. This is reason. Then there is reconstruction, where we are trying to make an argument. We are trying to make the final statement. When I compare the experience of observing year 6 class activity to my own experience of learning through textbooks, I can see how hands-on teaching can inspire children to be more connected to learning. So this is my own learning. I believe that curriculum planning and teaching needs to include activities that encourage students to be more involved in exploring the environment in which they live. As part of my future teaching practice, I intend to explore how hands-on place-based pedagogy can contribute to educating children about the world around them and in turn build resilience in the face of environmental changes. So what I plan to do. So this is very specific as to, it is kind of repeating the points made in report and relate, but it is saying now, what will I do with this? What is the next step? Where is it going to go? Maybe someone else might say that I need to learn and read more about this philosophy. And that is a good reflection to have. Every reflection need not go in towards something that you will do as an activity in class. It could be that you want to explore more, read more, find out more examples, talk to other people. It could be anything that you feel could be looked at. But this is one example of how reflective reading could be, writing could be constructed. So, okay, I'm opening the floor to your questions now. I do have let me just see if I can share a new screen. What I will do is I will also share an example of the same model where you can use this model. I will share this. I hope you're able to see the model.
Yes,
right? So this is a Word document, and you can use this as the 4 hours method. So you can say about what happened. The title of the reflection can be given out here. You could talk about what happened, describe the experience, what happened, who were the actors, who all were involved, why it happened, when it happened, where it happened. Now, what did you learn from this? I mean, something happened, so what? We are having this webinar, so what? So why does it matter? What has been the impact on you? How can you, what are those examples you can give of the impact? What are the connections you could have? Is there something else in the course that you could reflect and connect to? Maybe your past experiences also. What are you reading? What are you going to do as a result of your experience? One second. So what is it that comes in, and now what? What are you going to do as a result? So this could be where you are, kind of writing this in a way that uses, this is one method. This is the what, so what, now what method. The other one is exactly what I showed you. I like this better because it kind of explains everything, where you're reporting or responding, you're describing a situation, you're relating and connecting it to not only your experience, but other writings and theories. You're reasoning to try and find an explanation or an example with the 4 hours method in terms of the theory and practice. And then you are reconstructing and reformulating the opinion to make it seem like an article. Now, this can become a complete article write-up and an assignment write-up that comes in for your practice. Yeah, questions, doubts, queries from anyone, suggestions from anyone is welcome. I'll share all of this right now on the group as well.
Thank you. We'll have a 2-minute discussion among ourselves, and then we'll come back.
Yes, Rohula, yes. In the meantime, I will just share this.
Please, if you share your screen and share the first slide.
I will continue sharing the screen. Yes, I was just going to this example part. This one, maybe.
یعنی دا هم د ښوونکو دپاره چې دی یو دغه دی بیا وروسته دی کولی شي د سبا دپاره چې کوم پلان جوړوي یا ټولګي کې راځي کېدلی شي د ده رویه نن په ټولګي کې مناسبه نه وه کېدلی شي د ده تدریس نن زیات زده کوونکي نه اخذ کړی زده کړی نه وي نو دی دغه د لپاره په دې ګټور دی چې دی کولی شي سبا که نن د ده تدریس میتود ګټور نه وتمام شوی کېدلی شي بل میتود ته تغیر ورکړي.
زه به یو مثال ووایم
مهندس په لیسن پلان کې موږ تاسو اخر یو ډول لرو هغه خپل ریفلیکشن ده موږ څو فیصد خپل زده کړه یا تدریس
زه به یو دوه رقمه بخښه ارزیابي دوه رقمه یو هغه دی چې داخل په لیسن پلان کې زه راځم درېیمه برخه کې ما درته وویل چې زه شاګردان ارزیابي کوم یو هغه دی چې زه د ټولګي څخه ووتلم لکه د ځان ارزیابي یا ځان ته چې یو فیډبیک چې زما نوم دا څنګه آیا زه شاګرد یو دا خبره ده ټولګي کې زه شاګرد ارزیابي
زه به یو مثال ووایم چې زما تاسو خبر کړئ ما فکر کوم زه فرض کړه د ای بي سي تدریس اول صنف کې کوم الفبا تدریس کوم زه په اوله مرحله کې ریپورت لیکم چې نن ما د امروز ما ساعت دوم 45 دقیقه ساعت داشتیم و الفبا رو می‌خواستیم به شاگردان تدریس بکنیم ما از چاپ استفاده کردیم از فلش کارت استفاده کردیم از مارکر استفاده کردیم کمیونیکیتیو لنگویج گیمز استفاده کردیم شاگردان را گروپ چی کردیم تقسیم کردیم و این راپورش نوشته می‌کنیم با خود یکیشون بعد از این مرحله راپورش است که اکثر نشان دادیم یا گیم کردیم برای شاگردان یا از ویدیو استفاده کردیم یا چارتا رو برشان دادیم فلش کارتا رو برشان دادیم این نریشنش نوشته میکنیم این ریپورت شد از این یک ساعت که ما چی میکنیم بعد از در ریلیت ما میایم که ما به خود یک توقع رو داشتیم که شاگردان ما چه قسم میاموزن حالا ما که این فعالیت‌ها رو انجام میدادیم عکس العمل پس شاگردان چی بود یا به هم پروسه تدریس ما و عکس العمل پس شاگردان به هم چه قسم بود ما تا قبل از اینکه ما یک فعالیت انجام میدیم مثلا کار گروپی را انجام میدیم با خود یک هدف داریم که شاگردای ما این مرحله را در این کار گروپی انجام میدن آیا یا این را انجام داد یا نداد همین فعالیت‌های ما و عکس العمل شاگردان چی بود این را ما ریلیشنش نوشته کنیم یا از شاگردان ما چی آموختیم شاید یک شاگرد بسیار خوب الفبا را کار کرده باشه شاید یک شاگرد کمی چی این شد ریلیشن ما ریلیت میکنیم در مرحله ریزن میایم که ما پس ابزرویشن میکنیم یا نظارت میکنیم از شاگردان و چی یافته هایی را که ما از شاگردان میگیریم او را امرای خود چی میکنیم ریزنز که اینجا که خوب رفتیم این را خوب یاد گرفت در این جایی که پیش رفتیم این را خوب یاد گرفت یا این فعالیت با دلچسپی شاگردان خوب بود این فعالیت دلچسپی شاگردان برشان خسته کن بود اینجا اشتباه رفتیم این ریزن ما امرای در ریکانسترکت ما میاییم تمام پروسه را سامرایز میکنیم تمام همین سه مرحله را پس سامرایز میکنیم که اینجا این فعالیت ها خوب رفت این فعالیت ها خوب نرفت اینجا نیاز است که باید پیشرفت شود اینجا این نکات ما باید قابل اصلاح است و این نکات ما باید دیگه خوبتر شود این چی هست ریکانسترکت سر شو خود
درسی در شما مثلا
بله
یعنی تمام مراحل مدرس درسی باید
این میشه که یک چیزی که شما ما شما اینجا بالای استاندارد ها داشت میذاریم معیار است عموم موضوع ما ریفلکشن است که ریفلکشن چه قسم نشته بکنیم حالا ما شما میریم در بازار و امرای خود پلان میکنیم که در بازار میریم سودا را میخریم هیچ نوشتم نمیکنیم پس که آمدیم امرای خود یک مکس میزنیم که مکس میکنیم که چی را خریدیم چی از ما ماند چقدر پول برده بودیم چی ما اونجا فکر کرده بودیم که یک چیز را به 20 افغانی میخریم حالا به 30 بود این چی تغییرات آمد این 4 مرحله رو شما میشه که در پس مرور بکنید و در اخیر سامرایز بکنید که اگر در آینده ما بریم پلان کاری نیست هر فعالیت که است برشان ریفلکشن اما اینجا بحثی است که ما استاندارد ریفلکشن چه کردن میتونیم یا ریفلکشن اکادمیک چکس ما کردن میتونیم این مراحل واضح شد ان شاء الله خود توکل به خدا که
بیان یک دانه هم یه عملی نوشته میکنیم.
I tried to elaborate more on it.
عملی د دې درس باندې ریفلیکشن لري چې دا شی نه موږ کولای شو اوس به پوه شو
کېدای شي هغه خپل التفات وي منتظره ښکاري.
Let's go ahead and then we'll
استاد داسې تېرېدل ضرور نه دي دا هغه شیان دي چې موږ یوازې پکې نه پوهېږو هسې مخې ته تګ څه ضروري
نه زما مقصد دا چې هغوی نه خو سره به یو ځل
موږ به یو دانه ولیکو وربه درسته او خو صحیح کنو تغییر وکړي راوړو
So let's go ahead and then we can decide.
So thanks, Rahul. I can see you explained everything again. I just have one point. The last one, which is reconstruct, it is summary, but it is also about what it is also so what. So first you are explaining what is the topic, then you are saying why you know, how you relate to that topic. Then you are explaining why this topic is important, how does this come about. In reconstructing, you're basically again repeating the topic, summarizing as Rahula said, but you also will have something else that you want to plan to do as a result. So reflection should lead to something that you want to do. Maybe it is to redo the class. Maybe it is to you know, read more. Maybe it is to say this plan is useless. I don't want to ever use it again. So it could be an opinion in that sense that you have formulated. So there will be summary plus action in that reconstruction. I don't know whether you said that. I could hear the word summary. So I just thought I'll reconfirm.
I said that in other words. I said that after summarizing, we can plan our further
yes. And whatever our final reflection, whatever our final argument is, that comes in the reflection stage. Thanks a lot for explaining these points. I know we have a little time because there is just about 20 minutes, I think, left for the activity. So what we can try and do is take this model and they don't have to be long sentences. So one of the other points that comes in is that these sentences are long. Do our sentences have to be long? They don't have to be long. They just have to explain. So for almost every point, you just had about 2-3 sentences. There could be 6 sentences instead of 3. There could be 3 shorter sentences, but how will you explain? So if you take up any topic, it could be on use the same activity, and to that extent, and we have this model that comes in, and you don't have to use the first model. You can just go with the second model since that got explained. And the title of this reflection could be reflective writing session. And here we could basically state that what was the session, right? Explain what happened, what did you observe or feel about the situation. So it could be explaining this own session itself. How do you relate to this? Have you experienced something personally? Have you had other trainings before this? What is the sense that you can get of this class? What were the situations, or is there any kind of a mapping to any other learning theory that you have done of reflection? And again, I will say that every time we may not have a theoretical reading that we can connect to, but this also tells us that therefore we need to find those readings. That in this section, I must have had this reading section and I don't have a reading to refer to it. So can I find from someone else about it? And then you could talk about reason, what was significant, what impacted you, what affected you, what could the relation be? And I just gave this as an example saying reflective writing session, but it could be any one session, right? Any one session in this course that you want to connect to. And you could try and fill this up in your own words and your own writing. And the Word document has been shared with you on the Telegram group. And you could try writing it. And if you can finish at least about, some points in each of it, it would be great for us to share here. But Dhwani, Reema, if you can help me with the time. I think we have just about 15 minutes more.
15 minutes, Anusha.
Yeah. So what would you suggest? Would they be able to take this up and construct writing on any topic that they would like to reflect on and use this as a model to write a reflective report and then share it on the Telegram group? Is that a possibility? And I'm happy to give feedback on all of that as such, or we can just do it right now for 15 minutes. If you have any doubts, we are happy to help you through those doubts and then do. So I'm just leaving it to you to manage the time. I thought I would have about 30 minutes for this activity. It's a lot to write.
Rohula, can we extend by 10 minutes?
You can try writing, and as you write, then you could share it, and then we could.
Yes, we can extend for 10 minutes. We can 12:20. We can.
Okay. Yeah, so we could try writing. This is an individual activity task. You could write on any one session or topic in that sense, and then try and see how you could respond to it. It doesn't have to be on reflective writing. It could be on what Ruchi was doing today. I heard lesson planning. It could be on digital badge. It could be your, assignment aspect that you're writing on. So just this part, what you will be doing is writing in this column. You can write on a Word document, simple Word document, as long as you just put in as report or respond, relate, reason, and reconstruct. So 4 paragraphs, 4 different paragraphs. You can also handwrite. You can also handwrite and share.
Telegram.
Yes, and share on Telegram.
Okay, thank you. Let me elaborate on it and then we'll So, Anusha,
I'm
we
here,
are
I'm here.
We are still struggling with the concepts. So the colleagues suggest that let's open a Word document and you develop a reflection on today's session, or maybe
we can do that. I was also thinking that we can do it as a group activity. Sure.
As a group activity. Yeah.
Sure, we can do that where you are telling us ideas and then we could go forward from there.
So
definitely. Yeah. So let's try this with this same session. So then I will share this. Reflective. I also have these questions that are posed on Telegram. So I just wanted to respond to it. What is the difference between reflection and feedback? Thank you for those questions. The best analogy that I can think of is when you look into a mirror and you see how you have worn your dress, and you see whether it suits you, you feel good about it, or whether you think that if there is an earring or something missing, how you would change that. Maybe the color of the dress is not nice, so you go and change the dress in that sense. But reflection is that activity where you are looking at your own self, your own experience, your own actions, and making those changes and judging for yourself, evaluating for yourself, connecting to whether this will suit that occasion for yourself. Feedback is when your family member or your friends will come and tell you, that looks good. Or no, you should have worn a better dress for this occasion. That is the difference. I hope that helps you to think about the difference in terms of what is feedback and reflection. Reflection is self-reflection largely, and feedback is what you give others or what others will give you. So it's more a connection with others. So mentoring has a lot of feedback that the mentors will give, but the mentees and the mentors for themselves, they will have to do reflection. A teacher will give feedback to students and then reflect on her or his own practices. That is the difference. So if we take up this activity and we use this, so going back, if there are any questions or further comments on it, you can definitely state. So let us try doing it in a very short session as such, and we'll wrap it up in maybe 10 minutes. So include a brief description of the event in a sense. So you could say, I participated sorry. If there are any other points you want to give, please do give. So I participated in the reflective writing session conducted by Chris on Tuesday. The session introduced us to types of reflective writing. So this is all telling us what happened, types of reflective writing, and a model called 4 R's that can be used. Right. The links and the model template was also shared on Telegram. Now, can you tell me how you felt about it? What did you observe, feel, question about the situation? Anyone who felt whatever you felt. It could be that you felt it was boring, or it was, or okay, we can also say Rohilla had to explain everything all over again. Yeah. You were speaking Arabic, right? Or Dari?
I can speak Arabic, Persian or Dari or Pashto.
You were speaking Dari or Persian?
Both of them. That was combination of Pashto and Dari.
Okay. I had to explain the concepts all over again in. Okay. All right. So this happened. Now you tell me, what did you observe? So you observed this, that he had to do it. How did you feel about it? What was the one reflection? Anyone? You could, I'll give you some words. Useful, obviously I'm trying to praise myself. Boring, repetitive, relevant, difficult. It could be anything, right? So you have something where you're saying new. It could be anything that is there, needs time to understand. Anything of these, that would be what did you observe or feel? How did you feel about that session in a sense? Anyone who has a point, who can share what they felt about it? You don't have to praise. I have already put in difficult, boring, etc. How did you feel? Long, another thing. Long.
So you have already mentioned here, difficult and need time to understand.
Okay, so 3-4 things together. Okay. It was a new model that. So one of the things that you could talk about is maybe it seemed to be what you said was interesting. I think rich and will need more time perhaps to understand and use the model discussed, right? So you have brought in this. Now, please note that I kind of gave advice as to how this could be done through different means. Right? Now I go here because we have taken this concept of what did you feel about the situation or the issue discussed. It could be that it was necessary, or it is something that is important to study, important to know, and will need more engagement. I am just giving these as points. I will also share this document. Now, very quickly, because I'm very conscious that we have little time, let's look at what will be in Relate. So Relate is, have you experienced this before? Have you had a session on academic? I have, maybe you have. I have had prior or sessions on academic. I have attended maybe sessions on academic writing and before, how maybe that. However, this model was new to me. Right? So you can now start saying what was your experience and how does it connect? What can you make sense of the situation? The idea of reporting, report, relate, reason, reconstruct are is very new. The terms need time to understand, to be understood. Maybe it is, perhaps it is slightly confusing to use these words to organize an essay. Right? Maybe that is your experience. Maybe that is how you felt about it, that it is that what does report mean? What does relate mean? How do I relate it? And you could then talk about some author who talks about, the experience and the connection in a sense, where we talk about, knowledge plus one. So in a sense, if I use Rohula will know that I love Krashen because I've done this in papers, but Krashen talks of K plus one. I'm just giving this. You could give something else, K plus one, knowledge plus one level. This seemed to be more difficult than the plus one, right? So maybe that is how you are responding to it. Or you could look at some other writing. Yes, Rohula, sorry.
Can we say the related part, can we say that the existing knowledge, the comparison of existing knowledge and the session conducted?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. It is your essay. I just am giving this because I had to.
No, I mean by related part, is it the comparison of our existing knowledge and session conducted? So if we, and the related part, we are going to write about our existing information.
Yes, so this builds on my existing knowledge, sure. Existing knowledge on connecting theory and practice, theoretical readings, and experiences in a written piece. Yes, you could. If this is what you intended to say, of course you can. See, this is your piece. So you say how it connects, right? You say how it connects with one or the other. But there could be two ways. Someone could say it was very difficult. Someone else may say that it was building on their prior knowledge. Someone else may say that this confused me further. Someone else could say this helped me organize my information better. So each one of you may have a different relation, right? That is what makes reflection beautiful. Every one of us is not going to have the same reflection. Some of us are going to feel confused. Some of us are going to feel, wow, this is great. This is exactly how I want to write. So each one of us will have a different relation, and that is great. That is what reflection is about. So you could write on this, or you could say that it is confusing. So this could be one way of writing it, or this could be another way of writing it. Now, obviously, there are two different points. One is it is confusing. The other is that it builds on my existing knowledge, right? So you will choose one or the other to write. I hope I made that point clear to, talk about as how it could be done, right? So it could be or it could be or, right? So this is how you could write. Now, how does the situation relate to the theories in the course? Maybe what you also want to say is it does not relate to the theories in my course. It may not relate to the theories in your course. I don't have any such theory in the course. Maybe that is another point that you want to make. So this is another point that you could make. Sorry, where am I here? There are no current readings in the course that help me better understand this concept. And so this could be something that you could state. So maybe there are not readings, or you don't have enough literature that helps you state that. The other question will be reason. So what was the theory? What were the significant factors that impacted you? You know, you could say something as Rohula's explanation helped me better understand the concept since, and why? Since it was explained in the language Persian or Dari, whatever language that you were comfortable with, that I am more comfortable with. So that may be the significant factor. The what else? Anything that helped you or discomforted you? How do you relate it in a sense to something else that was done? Anything? Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Just
Okay, yes. So discussions post the session also helped clarify the concepts and raised more questions.
Practical work also.
Yes. So
You are doing now.
Right, on Telegram, etc. So you could talk about that. So maybe another thing that you could talk about it is in this relate part, you could also talk about the fact that you want to perhaps, you did not find something important, or if we are looking at it, because it also again says, how did you relate to what you previously experienced? So it could be that this session was more difficult, interactive, whatever, however you felt about it, was more theory heavy than other sessions, needs, or this seems to need more support from faculty. So how do you feel about it, right? How do you relate it to your previous experiences? What kind of impact does it have in understanding this concept? All of that could be there. So these two questions I'm kind of combining into one sentence. So every question does not have to be answered in each different sentence. It could be that you're combining the two and writing them in another sentence. So what impact do other perspectives have on the issue? This is not an answer that you could give in this particular session. So you could talk about the fact that academic writing and reflections are a part of the course requirements, and this will need more support and hand-holding for each learner to really benefit. And one of sessions, I obviously write very long sentences with and. You can cut it short. One of sessions will not be sufficient. right? This could be one of the kinds of points that you have made that you think is important. Now, this is the reasoning that you're coming up with. Now, why? Maybe, is there any theorist that you can talk about who talks about practice and doing as an action? Doing and not just listening to lectures, doing and getting feedback, and not just listening to lectures will truly help us in improving, and here you could give something like, you could even recommend Vygotsky, who talks about social learning and stuff. You could talk about Piaget and constructivism. I'm just giving certain words that you may have come across already in your course readings, but there could be others in terms of academic writing and English language improvement, like Krashen, who says that immersing yourself and doing the actions will help you improve, right? So it could be some theorists that you could talk about. So I'm just putting here theorist as in brackets. So that is your citation. That becomes a citation, right? And you could figure out your citation. So this is the way that you could think about. Sometimes we just have an idea, we don't know who the theorist is. Our job may be to go back and look at the reading and then bring that theorist again here, right? And then we reconstruct and say, and this could be a shorter sentence, the session, while useful, requires more follow-up sessions, that this would be best done in person. So now here, when we say reconstruct, we will have to say what session that was, right? So the session on reflective writing had a useful and clear model to follow. However, and this here is your argument. However, the session, while useful, this is best done in person or one-to-one, or you could give your comments in person, or at least with more one-to-one feedback, right? So this is what you are saying, what are the strategies you will develop for future practice. So here you are saying that this is best done, and this is your core argument, maybe. Or how will you deal with the situation the next time? So you could also make suggestions such as maybe prior readings could have been given, and something of that sort. So what are your recommendations you are making out here? What are the suggestions you have? It could also be that you say, oh, no, this kind of session not needed. So how do you want to respond? Does this help you kind of get an idea?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, as I pointed out, very long. And of course, depending on how we are constructing it, and can be done, as pointed out, in 15, 20 minutes. So, because we took only that much of time, so we could look at it from that angle. So hopefully this is useful. I will share this also with you as the model that comes in. And sorry. Because now you can share with us.
Now it's clear. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, now you can share with us on Telegram your own models. And you can handwrite also, not a problem. Right? And doesn't have to be long, can be short.
Thank you. It's already
Thank you. Thank you all. See you. Bye. I'll see you again at 3 o'clock maybe. Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.